How's everyone doing? Oh my gosh, thank you so much for having me. My name is Chloe Petts. I'm English. I am sorry about that. Like any true English person, I'm incredibly rude. In fact, I have taken to playing music out loud through my phone on public transport. Yeah. That is to say, I've got these new Bluetooth headphones and I keep forgetting to turn them on. So the other day I started playing a murder podcast out loud to the other patrons of the bus. Now, because I live in London, I'm always covered in like a thin layer of pollution. So what I did next is I reached into my rucksack to get out a bottle of antibacterial hand gel. Unbeknownst to me, I have not packed a bottle of antibacterial hand gel. I had indeed packed a bottle of lube. Now, I don't know if you've ever seen a 6-foot lesbian sat on the top deck of a bus listening to a murder podcast out loud while she lubes up her hands and stares into the middle distance. Does make you look like a very brazen serial killer. I went home and I told my girlfriend this had happened, and she was like, oh yeah, I did see you put that in your bag this morning, and I did wonder why. I was like, why didn't you tell me? She was like, I don't know what you get up to in your spare time. I was like, darling, you are my spare time. You made me look stupid in front of all my bus friends. So I have got a girlfriend now. She is Australian. Yeah, correct. She's amazing. She won't watch me watch the soccer because she says that I get too British. She saw me watch the soccer one time and it almost ended our relationship before it began. What happened is she came into the living room and went, Chloe, why are you laughing? I had to explain that Man United had just gone 3-2 down and the camera had panned to a crying child. So I've started watching the women's football a little bit more to become less toxic, and I think the women's soccer objectively is better than the men's, despite what your radio presenters might say. Yeah. I get a lot of... I'm used to it. Like, I get a lot of sexism when it comes to football. Like, there's still a certain type of man that doesn't think that I can know as much about the game as he can, right? It's like he doesn't think I've got time to both watch Match of the Day and buy sanitary products. But the key thing about that is you stockpile in the off-season. So you're ready for when the season starts and the on-season. Women's football is objectively better, right? Because I feel like there's like a nicer vibe at the women's soccer than there is at the men's. Like, you'll hear little phrases at the women's soccer that you wouldn't hear at the men's, like, please. Nice Birkenstocks. You also move around the space differently at the women's and the men's game. Like, at the women's football, you sort of move around the concourse like you're these perfect Tetris blocks that kind of fit together in wonderful symbiosis. At the men's game, it's like someone's dropped you in a trough of ham that you have to punch your way out of. But I would say the one thing that is slightly better about the men's game is that they celebrate harder. And I think it's because the blokes need it more. No, because this is how we celebrate at the women's soccer. We'll be like, yeah. Woo! Sick. I love that. But you know what else I love? Yoga and brunch with friends. Whereas at the men's game, when a goal goes in, they're like, fuck that went in. I was going to throw myself in a fucking Thames if it didn't. But it's intoxicating. I wish you could experience celebrating a goal in the UK at the men's soccer, because we do this thing called limbs, which is we celebrate so hard where our limbs sort of go flailing, you kind of throw your pint in the air, you punch your neighbour. I personally like it because it's always with this bunch of like big burly men that proclaim never to have had a homosexual experience. During limbs, you don't know if something slipped in or not. Limbs is the gayest thing I have ever been a part of, and I've been fingered in a garden centre. And yes, that is how I would like to end my set. Thank you! You've been amazing. Good night. Thanks.